Our planet Earth supports an amazing abundance and variety of life forms. Several million plant and animal species, and billions of microorganisms which we cannot see. In this respect, the Earth is unique, for it seems to be the only known celestial body in the entire solar system that has life. But why is there life on our planet alone, and not elsewhere in the entire solar system? Only on the Earth, it seems, there are conditions that are ideal for life to exist. Scientists often describe the Earth's physical environment in terms of spheres. Our entire planet is covered by a thin blanket of a mixture of gases, which we call the atmosphere. Of these gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide are essential for the survival of living things. Plants need carbon dioxide, while the other life forms need oxygen for survival. The atmosphere around our planet also has a layer of ozone gas. This ozone layer acts like a filter, shielding us from most of the sun's harmful ultraviolet radiation. Unshielded, this ultraviolet radiation would kill all life forms. On our planet's surface is the hydrosphere, which is composed of all the Earth's water. On the surface, the oceans. Lakes and streams contain most of the water supply. Water is also found underground. Water has unique physical properties. It can exist as a liquid on land and underground, in a gaseous form in the air, and in a solid state as ice. Water is essential for life, and it plays a vital role in the structure of all living things. "70% of our own body weight is made up of water. Its most important quality is that many chemicals and minerals are soluble in it. It is from water that plants take up minerals or nutrients through their roots. Nearly 3/4 of our planet is covered with water. This water helps to regulate the Earth's temperature and climate. The oceans absorb the heat from the sun and distribute it around the Earth in currents, thereby maintaining the planet's temperature at an average of 25 degrees Celsius, which is ideal for the survival of most organic life. The lithosphere is the Earth's solid shell made up of rock. The continents and the sea floors are part of the crust, which is the top portion of the lithosphere. On On land, a major portion of the lithosphere is covered with soil. Soil is weathered rock, combined with pockets of air, water, and rotting organic matter called humus. It also has vast numbers of bacteria invisible to the naked eye. These bacteria break down the dead remains of plants and animals into elements which are essential for the growth of plants. The soil is also the home of plants, burrowing animals, insects, worms, and microscopic bacteria. A single hectare of soil may contain 1 million earthworms and billions of bacteria. Without soil, there would be no plants, no food, nor any of the vegetable products we rely on. In fact, there would be no animal life at all. Since life exists on the ground, underground, in the air and water, parts of each of these spheres overlap each other and make up what is known as the biosphere. The biosphere is the zone of life. Although the biosphere measures 20 kilometers from top to bottom, most life exists on and in the lithosphere and on the upper 100 meters of the hydrosphere, or where the rays of sunlight can penetrate. This life-comprising zone stretches around our planet like a thin film. By analogy, its size in relation to our planet can be compared to the thickness of a layer of dew on the surface of an apple. All concentrations of life on Earth and their environment constitute what are known as ecosystems. This marshland, for example, with its population of waterfowl, animals, plants and water, is a wetland ecosystem. Other environments could be a pond only a few feet across, yet teeming with life. Or a montane forest, hundreds of square kilometers in size. Or even a desert. The variety is endless. Some people think of the whole biosphere as one huge ecosystem. But on our planet, two distinct kinds of ecosystems are found: aquatic and terrestrial. A lake is an example of an aquatic or water-based ecosystem. It consists of water, rocks, plants, fish, and other living and non-living things. A forest, on the other hand, is a terrestrial ecosystem which consists of the vegetation, soil, water, birds and animals, and of course, the climate. There are certain fundamental principles that govern all life on our planet. There is a constant transfer of energy and cycling of nutrients which occurs through feeding, death, and decay. Let us see how this works. The sun is the source of all energy and life on our planet. This energy, however, cannot be consumed directly, but is used in nature to cycle materials essential to life, like minerals, water and gases within the ecosystems. Plants alone and some bacteria have the capability of trapping the sun's energy directly to produce food. Plants thus form the primary source of all food on the planet, and thus are the basis of all life on Earth. Because plants create their own food, they are known as producers, for they produce new living or organic material from non-living or inorganic materials of the Earth. In a process called photosynthesis, plants use chlorophyll, the green pigment in the leaves, to capture light energy from the sun, carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through the leaves, and water through the root system to produce energy-rich carbohydrates. Oxygen is given off as a byproduct. Plants thus form the first edible collection of energy and materials in a food chain. This is the primary production of any living system. The second major process is consumption. Plants are consumed by herbivores or plant eaters. They are the primary consumers. This results in the utilization and reorganization of organic material originally formed in green plants. Some of the energy is used for the life processes, and some stored as the flesh of these animals. The herbivores may be eventually consumed by a carnivore or eater of flesh. All carnivores are secondary consumers because they receive energy from plants secondhand via the primary consumer, the herbivore. In this way, the energy stored in the herbivore passes to the carnivore. This eagle too is a carnivore. The transfer of energy from plants through repeated stages of eating and being eaten is known as the food chain. In a simple food chain, the plant is eaten by a plant eater, which is eaten up by a meat eater. Scientists have calculated that only 10% of the energy in a trophic level is available to the trophic level above, because at every level, organisms store some energy in their bodies, and they also use up the energy to live. Energy is also lost into space as heat. This is the reason why there are fewer predators than prey. This is nature's way of controlling and maintaining life form populations on the planet. All living things die eventually. Dead plants and animals and waste produced by animals forms the diet of a group of living organisms called decomposers. They include a range of bacteria, fungi, and small animals that break down nature's wastes into smaller pieces until all the chemicals are released into the air, the soil, and water, thus making them available to other living things once again. The decomposers are therefore a vital link in the natural cycle of life and death. Without the carbon dioxide that the decomposition releases, all plant life would die out. Without the oxygen the plants give out, and without the food they supply, life would grind to a halt, and all the animals would starve. The sun is the source of all life on our planet. Solar radiation, as we have seen earlier, represents one of the basic inputs for the growth of plants. This is not all. The sun's energy also drives the planet's water cycle. The sun's heat evaporates the water mainly from the oceans and also from other water on land and from living things. Clouds form as the water vapor cools and condenses, and these are carried by winds which are also driven by the heat energy of the sun. When the clouds are saturated, the water falls down as rain or other forms of precipitation. Rainfall provides the supply of fresh water on our planet and also helps to transport minerals which are soluble in it. Much of the incoming water is stored in the soil and is eventually used by the plants and animals. Ecosystems also act as controls upon the other processes of the environment. The vegetation intercepts rainfall and controls input of the water into the soil and streams, and thereby acts as control within the hydrological cycle. Vegetation also protects the land surface from erosion. Where there is little or no plant cover, rainwater dislodges soil particles and carries them away. This soil erosion can eventually lead to desertification. As we have already seen, in the biosphere, every organism is linked to every other. Be it a microbe, plant, animal, soil dweller, or ocean swimmer, all are caught in the cycling of energy and nutrients from the sun, air, and the earth. This global exchange system flows through the oceans, atmosphere, and from the life processes of the living things. This is what makes the biosphere a self-supporting system. Left to itself, it would go on functioning as it has done for the last 2 billion years.